A planned pregnancy is always an invaluable blessing for a young couple in love. The birth of a child can bring a young couple closer than anything else, and it's always heartwarming to see a couple start a small family of their own. For many people, having a young child can be a dream come true. It's something many people fantasize about since they were very young. It can bring a father or mother great joy to bring a new baby into the world and raise them the best way they possibly can. But there are always worries that the pregnancy may not go as planned, leading to serious anxiety and worry for the entire 9-month period. However, the 7 unusual pregnancies we'll introduce to you today are much different than most normal pregnancies. Some pregnancies don't go as planned, but some pregnancies were never planned in the first place. Before we dive into it, let us know about the strangest pregnancy you've ever heard of in the comments. 14-year-old pregnant Russian woman. Anyone who decides to have a child should always consider whether their personal lives will help ensure the baby is happy and healthy when it arrives in the world. Additionally, it's important to understand whether your financial situation is stable enough to provide for the newly founded family without having to struggle to make ends meet. However, properly managing your time also plays a role that should not be underestimated. It's important that you have enough time to spend with your spouse and your new child to make sure they're both cared for as much as they should be. In spite of this, it's pretty common these days to see teenage girls become pregnant unintentionally, even though they themselves may still be children who are just now blossoming into young adults. The fact that 14-year-old Russian Daria Sudnishnikova is expecting a child completely unexpectedly is therefore not necessarily worthy of a headline on its own. Rather, it's the equally cruel and touching circumstances that make this pregnancy so unique for this young woman. The young girl's pregnancy does not stem from being a careless teenager. Rather, it comes from a brutal attack after the woman fell victim to a savage criminal. The traumatic experience left deep wounds in the girl's heart and mind, which is why she did not have the heart to tell her parents the true story about how she became pregnant. Instead, she claimed that her boyfriend, Ivan, who's only 11 years old, was the baby's birth father. Before Daria could bring herself to explain the cruel, real-world circumstances that led to her pregnancy, the families of the young mother-to-be and the supposed father were faced with an emotional dilemma. When the two families finally learned how Daria actually got pregnant, they were all the more puzzled by Ivan's wish. The boy insisted on being faithful to his girlfriend during her new life, even though he was not the father of the girl's child and they were both incredibly young. Because of this, his parents even allowed him to move into Daria's family home. These days, it isn't uncommon for a father or mother to become terrified of having to raise a child, oftentimes leading to one of the parents abandoning the other and running away. However, in Ivan's case, he did the right thing and decided to stick by his girlfriend when she needed him most. This 11-year-old boy has wisdom far beyond his years, and I feel like we could all learn a thing or two from his courageous nature. Dad is having a baby. The fact that only women can get pregnant is one of the most basic ideas we learn from a young age. However, a look at the California man Scott Moore brings this idea into question and may make you wonder how much you really know about the world around you. Yes, the American man is only the second man in human history to have given birth to a baby. At this point, you may wonder how such an extraordinary story can even be possible. The reason Scott was able to carry a child is that the California man was born a biological girl. Since the man's sex reassignment surgery had not yet been performed at the time of the pregnancy, he still had a woman's body from a biological point of view. Scott's life partner, Tom, was also born in a female body, but has already had a full sex reassignment surgery performed. Before Tom decided to take this step, he had already given birth to 2 children, which means that the couple can now look forward to a total of 3 young kids running around their home. Maria del Carmen Busada de Lara. Statistically speaking, a German mother has her first child at the age of 29.7 years old. The older a woman is, the higher is the risk that a pregnancy will be met by difficult complications that could end up being a real hazard for both the mother and the young baby. Birth defects are no joke and should always be taken into account if an older couple is considering having a new baby. Despite her advanced age of 66 years, Maria del Carmen Busada del Lara decided to use an in vitro fertilization procedure to have a child. If you're not familiar, this is a procedure that a woman undergoes when she's unable to have a child naturally for one reason or another. In essence, a doctor will surgically impregnate her, oftentimes directly injecting sperm into an egg. This procedure not only allowed Maria to become the oldest mother on our planet, but also the center of a fierce ethical battle in the months and years that followed. As a result of a few complications, her two young twins needed to be brought into the world by a surgical C-section, and long before their expected due date. When they were born, the babies weighed just 1,600 grams. The woman later confessed that she had deceived the treating doctors about her age. As it would turn out, she told the doctors that she was only 55 years old, which meant that she was just barely within the age limit set by the clinic for performing artificial inseminations like the one she was given. Sadly, in 2009, Maria passed away as a result of serious cancer that had spread throughout her body. Some experts suggest that the disease was caused by the hormonal treatment that was given as part of the in vitro fertilization procedure. When Maria passed away from her illness, her two young children were just 2 years old. They will now be forced to live their entire lives without ever truly knowing their mother. Eightlings. As the saying goes, sometimes it's best to expect the unexpected. Nadia Suleiman also underwent the in vitro fertilization process mentioned just a moment ago. At the end of the surgical procedure, Nadia was able to not only carry her pregnancy to term, but she gave birth to 8 wonderful babies. Yes, you heard that correct. She gave birth to 8 children, all on the same day. However, Nadia's pregnancy did not come without a lot of ridicule. Though she was incredibly happy to have started a family on her own, she faced a lot of backlash from those that learned about her case. As it would turn out, Nadia was an adult actress in the bedroom entertainment industry. As you can imagine, the hurtful jokes surrounding her pregnancy were plentiful. While she may have had many opportunities to have a child naturally, she opted to go for in vitro fertilization. But this wasn't the first time she had done so. No, Nadia already had 6 children, all of whom were born from in vitro fertilization. Her cinematic career left many scars on her heart. These days, Nadia says she regrets ever making the terrible films she was involved in. She says she not only entered the industry because she had no other way to make money, she had faced a number of mental health issues over the years and developed a drug problem as a result. In the end, Nadia finally managed to get her life on track and now earns her living in a counseling center where she supports other addicts with help and advice. Different skin colors. A look at the statistics shows that only about 1 in 80 natural pregnancies will produce twins, while the birth of a conventional twin is already a cause for incredible joy for a young couple. The story of brothers Leo and Ryan takes things to an entirely new level that no one could have expected. This is because these 2 twins, born of the same womb, have completely different skin colors. The likelihood that one twin will be dark-skinned while the other will be born light-skinned is so rare, according to medical professionals, that this occurs only in 1 in a million twin births. Florence, the mother of the children, who are now in the middle of puberty, comes from Ghana, while her father Stefan has German roots. The attending doctor said that she had never encountered a case like this in more than 20 years of professional experience. The German-born children are now living as happy of a life as they possibly could, and their parents love them both deeply, even if they do look far different than most twins. She gave birth to 69 children. When we ask a young person how many children they would like to have, the answer is usually 2 or 3. However, Valentina Vasilyeva had many different plans in mind. According to some historical reports, the woman, who lived during the 18th century, is said to have given birth to a staggering 69 children. It's more than questionable whether Valentina's record, which, by the way, was also immortalized in the Guinness World Records book, will one day be broken. According to tradition, 67 of the 69 children are said to have survived infancy. Considering how popular it was for humans to pass away quite young at the time, this is a remarkable feat. To understand how it was possible for a woman who was about 76 years old to have so many children, we need to take a closer look at each of her pregnancies. As you've probably already suspected, the woman did not go through 69 total pregnancies. Rather, she went through 27. She gave birth to 16 sets of twins, 7 triplets, and 4 quadruplets. With the background knowledge that a single pregnancy lasts around 9 months, Valentina would have spent a total of around 243 months of her life being pregnant. That's a total of about 20 years. Many women, understandably, feel like they may not make it through the first 9 months. 87 days of birth. The amount of time a mother spends in the delivery room while trying to bring her new baby into the world can be some of the most difficult moments of a young woman's life. These hours are filled with extreme pain and can even cause serious emotional trauma for some mothers who may question whether the pain will ever stop. While most women question whether they'll be able to make it through the labor process, one woman was forced to remain in labor for much longer than any other woman in human history. The story of Maria Jones Elliott goes beyond what any woman could ever imagine. In fact, the birth of her 2 twins, Amy and Katie, took an incredible 87 days. But how did this happen? 4 months before the expected due date, the Irish woman suddenly went into labor. The woman knew that this was a medical emergency that, in the worst-case scenario, could end the lives of her babies. The following 2 days were incredibly difficult for Maria. The young woman not only struggled with the severe pain in labor, but also worried about the uncertain fate of her children. Amy was finally born on June 1, 2012. Since the premature baby weighed just 538 grams, it was immediately taken to the intensive care unit. Incredibly, however, the labor stopped after baby Amy was born. The attending physicians were also completely taken by surprise by this development because, after all, there was still another young girl in the womb. In fact, it would be a full 87 days before labor would begin again, and the Jones Elliott family could welcome their next family member to this earth. As a result, Maria spent the entire 87 days in the hospital and visited young Amy whenever she could. Today, the 2 sisters are in excellent health, and the family is doing quite well. Thanks for watching. Let us know the strangest pregnancy you've ever heard of in the comments below. Maybe your own story of giving birth is wild. Be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.